सुबह यहां ऐलान हुआ सर फ्रॉम द मिनिस्टर कि इस जहालत के खिलाफ मैं लड़ूंगा। लड़ा वो एक मर्तबा पहली भी जनाबी स्पीकर, एक फेडरेटिंग यूनिट नाराज था, वहां वो जाके लड़ा। They took up their guns, they killed millions of them. What was the end result? The end result is what counts, Mr. Speaker, sir. And as political workers and as people who are political leaders and who've got to shape the destiny of this country, I would like them to keep history in front of them. You've got to learn from history. सुबह हमें भी धमकी मिली कि हम यहां लड़ेंगे इस जहालत के खिलाफ। लड़ना अगर है जनाबी स्पीकर तो लड़ना हम सबको बड़ा अच्छी तरह आता है। We've spent 75 years of our life in the opposition. बड़े पार्लियामेंट्रियल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स हमने देखे, हम उनके खिलाफ लड़े। बड़े बड़े सिविल डिक्टेटर्स हमने देखे, हम उनके खिलाफ लड़े। लेकिन ये मुझे कोई बताए जनाबी स्पीकर, जब इस मुल्क की इकाइयां आपस में लड़ेंगी, इस मिट्टी को, इस मुमलिकत को उससे फायदा क्या पहुंचेगा? इतना जरा इस जाहिल आदमी को कोई समझा दे, कुछ फायदा पहुंचेगा इस मुल्क को? नहीं। आज आपके 3 सूबे चला रहे हैं। दे डू नॉट हैव द सेंस ऑफ पार्टिसिपेशन इन रनिंग द अफेयर्स ऑफ दिस कंट्री। 3 provinces. You went in for the bomb blast. For the first time, never in history, Mr. Speaker, sir, have the people of Pakistan united like they united when you went in for the bomb blast. Sent a very right message across. Proper message. We are one, whatever our political ideologies, whatever our political beliefs are. But we are one. Then what happened, Mr. Speaker, sir? First, proclamation of emergency that showed the cracks, and then the national agenda in which the unity of the different political entities in this country, it just went down. आज जनाबी स्पीकर क्या मैसेज दे रहे हैं आप? अंदरूनी मुल्क क्या मैसेज दे रहे हैं, बैरूनी मुल्क क्या मैसेज दे रहे हैं? Do today we give India the message that we are one? Do we give the West the message that Pakistan is one and they're speaking with one voice? No. क्या बाकी सब मसले हल हो गए थे जनाबी स्पीकर? ये एक बात मेरी समझ में नहीं आ रही कि क्या इस मुमलिकत के सारे मसले हल हो गए थे कि एक नया मसला हमें उठाना पड़ा? नहीं जनाबी स्पीकर। But with due apologies, I'll say the Prime Minister has a knack of creating a crisis out of nothing. He always creates a crisis out of nothing. And this is also one of them. He's damned if he damns, and he's damned if he doesn't. Janabi Speaker, regarding priority in a country, the first priority must always be the integrity and the solidarity of the country. The first priority has always got to be the keeping of the federation units intact. And for that, Mr. Speaker, sir, time and again we've been saying that until and unless you give a sense of security, a sense of participation to the federating units, until you treat your federating units with equality, respect and justice. Provincial autonomy based on equality, respect and justice. Only then can you think of keeping these 4 federating units as one nation. Barha, floor of the house pe humne ye kaha, Janabi Speaker, we accept that we've got a big brother. We are the smaller brothers, the 3 smaller brothers, and all 3 smaller brothers know how to give respect. इज्जत देना वो तीनों जानते हैं बड़े भाई को. सिर्फ यही इल्तिजा है बड़े भाई से कि वो भी जरा शफकत दिखाए. आज जनाबी स्पीकर, the times when countries were held together by something else than economic ties, they are gone. कोई अगर मुझे ये कहे कि कोई नजरियाती जनता उसने सोवियत यूनियन तोड़ा, या इस्लाम ने सोवियत यूनियन तोड़ा, या कुफर ने सोवियत यूनियन तोड़ा, no, Mr. Speaker, sir. The disintegration of the Soviet Union took place because of the economic crisis, the economic debacle that came as a result. यहां जिस तरीके से हम जा रहे हैं जनाबी स्पीकर, और जैसे खदशात हैं छोटे सूबों में, the building of this dam is going to be an economic debacle for the smaller provinces. My people will not be able to survive. Sindh will not be able to survive. आज ये लोग वही बात कर रहे हैं जनाबी स्पीकर जो आज से 4 साल पहले हम कर रहे थे. 4 साल पहले हम कर रहे थे कि पहले कंसेंसस हो, आफ्टर दैट गोइंग फॉर एन अनाउंसमेंट. आज अनाउंसमेंट के बाद हमें कहते हैं कंसेंसस हो. Which man with a little bit of common sense will accept the fact that after you've announced, you can make people sit down and reach an agreement or a consensus. Now you've put the fiat accompli in front of us. All we have to do is we have to accept That fait accompli or rejected. Let me be very frank, Mr. Speaker, sir. That fait accompli is not acceptable to us. We should have been taken into confidence before he announced. Sir, time and again, there are people sitting here who will bear me out. Time and again in the parliamentary party meetings, when this issue has come up, the Prime Minister was always very categorical in saying that I will only announce it after a consensus is reached. I think even the Minister of Water and Power will bear me out on this point. If you remember, Mr. Speaker, sir, one day while we were a part of the government, we had a row on Kala Bagh Dam, and the next day we did not turn up for the parliamentary party meeting. The ANP boycotted it. Then when we came back, the speech that the Prime Minister made on that day, I would just like the Minister for Water and Power to keep that speech in mind. When categorically he said that until and unless every province and every person and every political entity in this country is satisfied, I will not go in for Kala Bagh. लेकिन मैंने कहा कौन से promises हम उनके गिने जनाबी स्पीकर, कौन से वादे हम उनके गिने जिन पे वो वापस गए. As they say, promises are made to be broken. So there's a certain thing in politics, you take a stand and then you take a stand, you stick to it. ये मैकेवेलियन सियासत के आज एक बात करो, उससे फायदा उठाओ and then the next you back out. नहीं sir, that will not go. Just as I said this morning, you will fool all the people for some of the time, but you cannot fool all people for all times. I'd beg them, Mr. Speaker, sir, have mercy on this country. With sanctions coming in, with the economic instability that we are going to face, how can you then fight that instability? How can we as a people fight the sanctions if we amongst ourselves are not united? The prime requisite at this time was political stability in the country. And he saw to it that this political stability and the oneness that had come with the bomb blasts is gone. I'd beg of them, let us not think of our own vested interests. आज ये हमें कहते हैं, उस दिन सरताज अजीज साहब was very magnanimous. Got up, रॉयल्टी सब सूबों में तकसीम करोगे. ए बाबा वो तरबेला वाली और बाकी रॉयल्टीज कभी हमें मिली हैं 22 बिलियन, तो इवन नाउ द फेडरल गवर्नमेंट ओज द एनडब्ल्यूएफटी. यहां कहीं प्रिंस सलाउद्दीन सईद बैठा होगा, तरबेले वाला केस उसका अभी अदालतों के चक्कर लगा रहा है. 1.2 billion rupees which you had to pay the effecties of Tarbela. 1.2 billion have not as yet been paid. है अगर हिम्मत शहजादा सलाउद्दीन में उठ के कह दे उसके हल्के की क्या हालत है. This is just that one constituency, Mr. Speaker, sir. 1.2 billion in that one constituency. And I think a lot of members here who were with us in the last assembly will bear me out. इनका अपना डिप्टी लीडर ऑपोजिशन हर दूसरे रोज यहां उठ के कहता था तरबेला इफेक्टिव. द मिनिस्टर ऑफ लॉ एंड पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर्स विल रिमेंबर. उनका तो अभी फैसला बाकी है, उनका अभी तक फैसला हुआ नहीं. यहां नए डिस्प्लेसमेंट्स हो रही हैं. We going for 70,000 families are going to be displaced alone from my province. This is the figures that have been given to us by WAPDA. So for God's sake, let us think of first keeping the country together. Let us think of uniting the people of Pakistan onto one platform, not dispersing and throwing into pieces the unity that you had shown, the nation had shown the day, I'll say the 28th of May, the day the blast took place. Never in the history of Pakistan have people united in that way. You've shattered it. Now for God's sake, come out of this. Come out of this circle in which you are stuck. Think of the three federating units as brothers, not as conquered territories. Now we are being treated as conquered territories. I don't have a right to say anything. I don't have a right to live the way I want to live. I don't have a right over my own resources. I have to live the way one province wants me to live. वो जैसे एक दिन वली खान ने सर अपनी तकरीर में कहा कि मेरा बेटा पैदा हुआ, मैंने कहा मैं यूसुफ खान नाम रखता हूं. वहां से मस्जिद निसामी साहब हुक्म देते हैं नहीं, यूसुफ खान नाम नहीं रख सकते, तूने इसका नाम अल्लाह देता रखना. We are not prepared to give that right to anyone.